So presence is an absence of sort. You could say it's the absence of the unnecessary, of the superfluous. But this is just language. It's really even simpler than that. Really, it does not need to be explained to you because you know yourself. You are the self. All this talk is just a reminder of what you are because we love to be reminded. That's all. We love to be reminded. And so we come with friends and we recollect the self, which is not a me or a you. It's pure presence that is effortlessly innate. It's a universal presence that hears his words, that perceives his perceptions. It's pure intelligence that doesn't belong to me or to you or to her or to him. It's universal intelligence. So right now the entire universe is at play, it's interactive. This is a sort of a phenomenal interaction, a phenomenal burst of energy, of the universal consciousness that is at play, interconnected. You could look at it as like a field of a universal field of energy that's infinite. Like when you look at the night sky, it's this infinite space, and there are like places where there are bursts of stars, and planets and stars. It's sort of a local expression of consciousness that is seamless and borderless and wholeness that bursts in places in different forms of expression. Like our hand, it's one hand, and somehow it bursts like a pinky here in different form, different expressions, because they're different. They move differently and dance differently and play differently. Yeah. It's one wholeness. Same with like birth and death of bodies and trees and forests and whales and sharks and birds and all of this birth and death of phenomenon. It's that same expression. Like our hair falling off cells, at the cellular level. Some are dying, new ones are at the macroscopic level. It's one interconnected whole that is doing a cosmic dance. I as consciousness. I'm not any particular event. You could say I am all of it or none of it, whichever you could choose, or all of it and none of it. Yes? Yes. So this is the beauty of the realization of the self. Knowing yourself, know God. Know yourself and know God. Knowing God meaning knowing reality. Not having some unpersonal, limited understanding. Knowing yourself is knowing wholeness, knowing totality, knowing truth. And in that there is a dissolution of all fears and personal angst and patterns and habits and tendencies, me tendencies that have been going on, in our waking state, in our dream state, our thoughts, the me thoughts. What's happening to me as if a limited personal reality. You see? That there is one reality. Any impression of limited personal reality is but a little burp out of the universal reality as this personal impression. the small self and the big self. The small self is but a little flip of the coin of the self. Because, okay, boom, here is a you. Here is a me thought. Here is a you as a man. Here is a you as a woman. Go ahead, dream that for the next 5,000 years. How does it affect consciousness? It doesn't, no way. You could dream yourself to be a man and a woman suffering in the world and birthing and dying and struggling to get happiness, and you're going to make it. You're going to get the perfect mate, perfect job, the perfect house. More the merrier. Consciousness don't give a hoot about that.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's consciousness too.
Huh?
That's consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no hood. But there is an invitation. There is an invitation. There is an invitation. And this invitation, you've received the invitation. See, that's what's really beautiful. It's also part of the game. You received an invitation. You, as consciousness, sent yourself a note addressed to you. First, it came to you as Magdi, or as Mary, or as Bill, or as whoever. Said, oh, look what happened to me. I had an insight. Me, Magdi. Oh, I had an insight. Yeah, it happened in 1968. I remember I was, this and that. But I said, it happened to me. Right? The invitation came to me. Me. Yes? To me. It will take you 20 years or 30 years to realize that, oh, no, this invitation didn't come to you. It came to consciousness. You as consciousness. The true you. You see? You see the truth. Initially you say, oh, it came to me, and then oh yeah, look how great I am, enlightened, and so on. 6 months later, God, it's gone. It's gone. Where is it? And I remember it, and you just, I have to figure it out. You start reading Ramana Maharshi, you go to the Guru this and India, whatever. You see? Because you received a message to me, you thought of me. And after a while, if you're fortunate, well, we're all going to eventually get the message. Yeah, because consciousness is playing. That's a game that consciousness is playing. Forget yourself and recollect yourself. At some point, you realize, wait a minute. This body, this me, this man, woman, appears to me. It appears to me as thought. It appears to me as memory. It appears to me as bodily sensation. But I'm the one perceiving this bodily sensation. So there is a bodily sensation that's supposed to be me, but what is this me that's perceiving that? That's why, oh, wait a minute. There is something right here, right now, that hears these words, that perceives this perception. And that is what, when you start realizing that, wait a minute, the doubt starts to come. Maybe the message did not come to me. Maybe it came to me as consciousness, not to me as a person, not to me as a man, not to me as a woman, not to me as a young student or a, whatever. No. So that's you received, you got that message. You received a invitation. Invitation was your glimpse into something else than I am, this mortal body mind, which is the beginning of your spiritual path.
But then I just see that from the sort of behavioral realm, you touched on this, I'm hearing this, that every doing can happen within this loving, and that there's no reason that it can't, except that you're habituated to somehow not giving yourself a reward until you've done this or you've done that. So that's this dimension of duality. I mean, there's no reason I can't do everything I do and never not be loving, except that I don't want to allow myself to do that. I somehow think, well, I won't do anything, and I'll just lay in the corner and suck my thumb or something. And that's the behavioral dimension. It's just like, I mean, there's nothing, because I started down the road of, well, You make your own stress by saying, oh, well, I just got all this stuff to do, so I'll just do all this stuff. Then eventually when the stuff is done, then I'll have time to be happy.
That's normal.
And of course, that's just self-perpetuating folly. I mean, it's like stuff never gets done, and getting it to some point where, okay, at least you can take a break. Well, all that's been is an exercise in just building up all kinds of stress. So I say, well, I'll just work less. That's fine, but that's not really the answer. The real thing is being able to exist as a doing entity within a perfect loving space or something, for lack of a better word.
But there is no doing entity.
Okay, fine. I'm listening.
There is no doing entity, and there is nothing that you do.
Okay. I mean, is that a fallacy? Is that an imagination? I'm thinking about this in the wrong way.
Yeah. So rather than going outwards, turn around. Turn around and notice that there is at the source an assumption of a doer, an assumption. There is still a me impression, an assumption, a me assumption, and thus the impression of doing the right thing or not doing the wrong thing.
Yes, I get that the me reward system is all about the doing.
So turn around and notice that the me assumption, as you explore it, you will find that it's not maintained, but it's not supported by any evidence that there is a you as a body-mind, and that the body-mind impressions and thoughts of you arise to you as consciousness, and that there is
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
and that you as consciousness is the reality of the you, of what is the consciousness is the you reality. Consciousness is what I am, and consciousness is not limited to a body mind. It expresses itself through all forms: wind, waves, oceans, perception, sensation, thoughts, across the board. And there are no borders, no walls around consciousness that say, well, consciousness starts here and ends there. And that in the space of consciousness, thoughts arise. They're not to the left or to the right, or they're not to the top or the bottom. They're not ahead or behind. There isn't that dimension of space and time in which consciousness arises. The impressions of space and time arise in consciousness, but not consciousness itself does not arise in those impressions. So, given that it is borderless and not contained and not located here and not there, it's not more to the left and less to the right, not more to use in this direction and lesser towards that direction. It's not that way. Then you can open yourself up to the possibility that consciousness is borderless and universal, and therefore, if there is any doing, he's talking about doing the right thought, the right choice, that it does all doing. It's borderless. It's like the ocean does all the waves. You can't say, oh no, the Atlantic, the ocean does that part of the waves along that shore and some other part of the ocean. It's silly, You realize that all waves arise out of that one ocean. And so you're concerned about personal doership. You can surrender that to the true author, to its true author, and let go of such torturous
Responsibility.
yes,
Angst.
angst.
Well, I mean, what I'm kind of conceptualizing here, I mean, the beauty of this whole discourse is that there's a kind of poetry, so what do words mean? I don't even worry about that. I get to what comes through.
Right.
So, me is a sort of a device, or I'm conceptualizing something I've sort of conceptualized, and me is involved in doing. And I also see this very sort of reward system that's tied in, but it all happens within. I'm saying this loving, freeing space where you're breathing easily.
Yes, but except that the me is not doing; it's being done. Okay, you say like that. It's being done through. Yes, within this loving space, that there is a being done through. Being done through. So there is a doer that is doing through this body mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
Get my head around that.
And
It's sort of like a puppet.
I think
A puppet isn't real.
being done through. Okay, all right.
okay, think of a radio station that is emitting.
I hear this. I like it.
Yeah. that is emitting a program. It's emitting a program, and it is located in Honolulu. Yes, and it's emitting in million radios, million receptors. Yeah, and they emit the 100 programs in 100 different languages, which makes 1,000 different possibilities, or 10,000. I forgot what is the mathematical possibilities.
A lot.
A lot of them. So, at somewhere in New York, there is this message just coming through, this program that's coming through in French, and it's about some ballet performance or something like that. And imagine that in New York, when they turn on that station, they believe that they are the doer, that they are the actual producer of that just because they turned the knob on or something like that. See, so consciousness through all body minds does what it loves to do out of its freedom, and
Which is what? Freedom?
out of its freedom.
Out of its freedom.
Now, what it does is, if you consider yourself to be the real boss, me as a body mind, me as this man, consciousness says, "Oh, gee, you're dissing me. Okay, that's okay. But because I love you, I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. And I know that in you believing that you are the boss, you, this man, you, this woman, believing you're the boss, you're not going to be happy because this body mind is going to die." Right? So the thorn of death, the thorn of mortality is there. And God recognizes that. Says, uh-oh, you're going to be unhappy. I know you're going to be unhappy with this identification. Please come back to me. God's invitation is never withdrawn. It's always extended to you. God tells you, come back to me. And you say, no. I know what I'm doing. I know how to be happy. And I'm going to be happy, but I'm going to get that job, and I'm going to get that woman, I'm going to get that house, and I'm going to think the great thoughts, and I'm going to get enlightened. It says, okay, So this is where suffering comes in. Huh? You go, you get that house. It turns out that the plumbing is no good. You have the taxes. You didn't realize the taxes were $10,000, whatever. Or you get this partner, and you find out this partner is really, great, but they don't sleep at night, and they want to talk. So you, whatever. So this is, you start to suffer, but then you say, okay, well, no. It's because I need to get the bigger house, or I need to get a better woman. Yeah. You go deeper in the rabbit hole, and so the suffering, and at some point in time you turn around and you say, God help me, yeah, God help me out of my misery. And God says, I love it. What do you mean? I've been sending you all these messages. Where did you get it? Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Just turn to me. Turn to me means turn to your true self. Because where would you turn to? If you want to turn to God right now, where would you go? Where would you go? You go to a church? You go to a church here. Imagine this is a church. Okay, here you are. Oh no, a bigger church. Okay, imagine this is a bigger church. So here you are. Where do you go? You're really not going anywhere. When you turn to God, you're really stopping to go. You're stopping to go. It's a stopping.
Yeah.
It's not a going. It's a stopping. You stop. And when you stop, God is right there. You see? Uh-huh. Be still and know that I am.
You
Beautiful.
coast for a while too. Right?
What's that?
You coast for a while too. You want to stop.
Coasting, it feels good sometimes because, yay, coasting.
Well, yeah, you try to stop,
Yeah.
and it's not that easy, right?
Don't worry.
Coast and
You have all the help you need, all the help you need. God is always helping you.
Yeah.
Consciousness is eternally available. Eternally available. It's there to help you. As soon as you turn your attention, you say, God help me. You're in beautiful hands. You're really you're coming home. You're on your return home. What's beautiful about your return home is that you're going from here to here. Because home is what you truly are. You are home. Not you are home as a physical place. Your beingness is consciousness. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, being, presence, and consciousness are one. Being meaning you, I am, and awareness, consciousness are one. I am consciousness. I am that. The sense of presence, your knowingness, you know that you are, which is the I amness, and consciousness, awareness are one. You are consciousness. You do not become conscious. You are consciousness. The reality is consciousness. Reality is consciousness. Another word for reality, which is presence, which is I am. Whatever that is, the amness, and consciousness are one. Amness is consciousness. Amness means I. Whatever I am. Consciousness. And the I, the amness and consciousness are not personal. There are no borders to consciousness. It's not limited in consciousness. Not limited inside this sack of whatever you call it. It's not limited in any way. Limitations is imagined. It's an imagination. Yeah, it's imagination. And through the labeling capability of the mind, which is very helpful, like we label this table, we label this couch, this walls. It's a very important tool for functioning as a social group. I tell you, do you mind bringing me this chair? You're not going to go bring me the table. It's an important tool, you see. So there is a labeling quality in language that is very helpful, but it creates the impression, you know, that there is an actual limitation. Because you see, in your experience, you don't experience a chair. You experience your perception. For example, if you're looking at the chair, you don't experience a chair. You experience your perception. So you're experiencing your perception. You call it a chair. Your perception is intimately yourself. See, your perception is not separate from yourself. Because if your perception was separate from yourself, you will not perceive it. You cannot perceive something that's separate from you. You're experiencing your experience. You're experiencing your perception. So you're always experiencing yourself, not an external world, body, mind. Anyways, going much further than needed on the question. So